Today I wanted to talk to you about the latest trends in the real estate market and what they mean for you as a buyer or a seller. So in our county, we have some numbers that you should probably pay attention to. The definition of a trend is, in the context of real estate, is referring to the general direction that a market is taking over a period of time. So we track numbers every month, and then of course we compare those numbers month over month to last year's month and year over year to past years. So looking at this year, 2024, there are more sold listings recently than last year, about 19 more sold listings. So that means things are improving, because last year we saw a real lack of sales. We were down by about 30 to 35% in our county. And the other thing that we're seeing increase right now that bodes well for sellers is people are getting about 98% of list price on their sales. So it's really close to 100%. The one negative for sellers is that we are seeing properties average over 100 days on the market. That's a long time. So last year, that number was only about 37 days on market. So within a month, 30 to 45 days, your place was sold. This year, you're going to need to plan on being much more long-term in your thought process about selling your property. What I will say from working with sellers is that if you're willing as a seller to price your property aggressively, and that means under the market value, so well under, like 50 to 75,000 under the actual comparative market analysis pricing, you will likely get your property under contract for over asking price, because you'll end up with multiple offers within a week of putting it on the market. You won't be waiting that 120 days that everybody else is waiting. So you can outdo the competition that way. I know that's counterintuitive, but it really works. And I've been advising most of my sellers in the past several months to do it this way. So something to pay attention to. So looking ahead, there's some emerging trends that you should probably pay attention to. And that is, of course, what everyone's always watching, the interest rate. So a lower interest rate could definitely mean that we see less days on market and more upwards of 100%, people receiving 100% of list price. Towards the buyer side of things, we're definitely seeing lower prices, just like I talked about. I'm encouraging sellers to price lower so that they don't have to be on the market for 3 to 4 months. Less buyer demand has caused that, and less buyer demand has been caused by the really high interest rate. And of course, that's all caused the longer days on market. So we have about 4 months of inventory currently in our market, which is fairly balanced between a buyer and a seller's market. They say 6 months of inventory is a good balanced market. So we're still leaning towards the seller's market, but that's if the sellers are pricing it correctly for the market. When there's lots of days on market and a really less intense buyer demand. So emerging trends to watch for. If you see the interest rate coming down, even just 0.25%, we're probably going to see a huge uptick in buyer demand. And that's going to decrease the days on market and also decrease the available inventory. So we'll drop again below 4 months of inventory and we'll lean more towards the seller's market. So what can you do? You need to stay informed. You can watch me or get our newsletter. You can also ask for a CMA. What's your property worth? You can ask for auto emails if you're a buyer, so you can keep track of what's coming on the market and see what's going to work for you. And then we are happy to help answer any questions you might have about any of these topics. Let us know.